Yep. So welcome back to the PorterWay Podcast. I was glad there was a little malfunction because I had a malfunction on my end myself. And y'all already know who on here, and they getting pretty live in the chat. And we got this. We got to build this up. So we're gonna go through it fast, but we're gonna start at the beginning, as far in the beginning as we need to start. But everybody, people have there seems to be a common opinion about Bud's performance the other night, and it's not common with the version that I have in my mind. So I definitely, as we get to it, hopefully these fans are sending in some super chats so we can really get to what they want to talk about. If not, we're gonna talk about it how I want to talk about it. But first and foremost, shout out to Andy Cruz, stays undefeated. I think a small scare. What was that? Maybe the sixth round of the fight, small scare. But other than that, he handled what was the gentleman's name?
Antonio Moran.
Moran, excuse me.
Mhm.
Yeah, he handled Moran pretty well. And Moran gave him the push, the pushback, the resistance that a young fighter like him that's trying to be quote unquote fast track, they need resistance like that. People that's gonna make them say, okay, well, I need to learn how to go into my bag a little bit more, or I need to learn how to stay focused a little bit more and things of that nature. You know what I mean? I think this was a great test for him. What do you guys say?
Go ahead,
Well,
Sean.
speaking of his bag, he hasn't really reached into the stuff that won him the gold medals yet because he keeps working on what Bozy wants him to work on, staying in the pocket to round his game out. And that's what he did against Moran. And the beginning of the end was that pull right hand he landed on Antonio Moran. So
Yeah.
good performance. For comparison's sake, Devin Haney, I believe, got it done about a round earlier. Might have been. I'd have to check again, but they finished the fight off at about the same point in the fight.
They both got him out of there in the seventh,
In
right?
the seventh, then. Yeah.
Yeah, they
About
both got him out in the seventh.
I couldn't remember if Devin got him in the sixth or if it was the seventh. But basically, yeah, okay. So same round.
Mhm.
Devin was able to have a knockout of the year candidate. Cruz stopped him on his feet, but he was out on his feet. And so, but I will say this. I hesitate to say this because we haven't seen Andy Cruz do what he does best. Again, the back foot game and the slick stuff, boxing. But I think Keyshawn can beat him in the pros, even though Andy had his number, no doubt about it, throughout all the amateurs, including the Olympics. But I think the pros is a different game. You guys know that. And I think Keyshawn, is showing us more power than Cruz. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Cruz would pull out the same tricks that befuddled him in the amateurs that he hasn't really had to show yet in the pros. So
I feel like the defense of Keyshawn is a little looser than the defense of Andy Cruz at this point. Seems like Andy Cruz a little bit like Shakur, just knows that range and that distance and can get just outside of a punch. Obviously, we know that Shakur has had a tendency to get way outside of the punch, but Shakur has that same type of style where he can get right outside of the reach, the range, and get right back in. So go ahead, Antt. That's that. Everybody always talking about Keyshawn, your guy. Whenever Cruz is in the ring, what'd you think about the fight?
I mean, I worry about the power. You got to have some power in real boxing. 4 fights, 2 knockouts. I think Keyshawn smokes him.
Mm.
Smokes him.
Now
Okay.
wait a minute. Now what you talking about? Real boxing? What's real boxing?
Well, we would take off that Olympic ish, the
Oh,
tap tap
okay,
tap. We
okay.
ain't tap it. We ain't tap it over
Say
here.
professional.
Yeah,
Okay.
Not
yeah,
not not real. That's what he meant to say. Professional.
yeah. A lot of fighters, Olympic
What are
fighters,
you, the intelligent ant? Okay.
a lot of Olympic fighters, that's actually to your point, Ant, you're exactly right. That's why they fall off when there's no longer the in and out touch game, and you got a longer number of rounds, 10 rounds, 12 rounds. That touch got to become bang bang, and if it ain't bang bang, something might happen. So you got a great point.
Shout out to Pops. But yeah, Keyshawn's coming to get you, and I don't know if he got something that could keep Keyshawn off of him. I'm there for the
Mhm.
fight. I don't know if I want Keyshawn to give it to him now or when he get a title. I think he wins no matter what. But it's like, does he deserve it then, or does he deserve it now?
Right. Go ahead, Naeem, what you
Now,
thought?
I actually missed that fight. I only saw the knockout. I came in a little bit late. I came in on the first big baby fight.
We'll come back to you with Big Baby.
Okay, but as far as Keyshawn goes, I don't know if he actually has the holes in his defense or if he's just at this lower weight and is willing to exchange and take those punches because they're not phasing him. You know, we've seen other boxers do that at lower weights, and they moved up and started getting rocked, like AB, Berto.
Yeah.
Berto was a speed and power guy, and then he moved up, and you know the punches started feeling a little bit different. But I've said on the show before, I'm a big Keyshawn fan. I think that he's a future pound and a future champion.
Yeah, I'm gonna read this super chat real quick. Matt Bergeson. In terms of Andy, I think Bozy making Cruz more offensive is coming at a cost of his natural defense. That's what you're talking about, Zittel. He said, hopefully a bit more down the line, he gets those natural talents back with his new style. I don't think he's necessarily sacrificing his natural reflexes and defensive style to become more offensive. I think that this just happened that he was throwing a punch and got caught with a punch right around it. I think he thrown a punch and finished it and then got caught. And it's something that can happen, I don't think that was necessarily because he was so focused on offense that he forgot defense so much as it was just happened to be the timing of Moran in that moment, but he got through the moment and it really wasn't as big a moment as I thought it was in retrospect. I went back and looked at it. I said, oh, that wasn't, he wasn't in serious danger. He just had a small scare there, Nonetheless, yeah, go ahead.
If you're Bozy, do you consider going to Andy and saying, let's put the salsa shoes back on next fight? Let's match make with an aggressive opponent. And I love the work we've been doing these first 4 fights to round your style out, get you on the front foot, but let's show them the stuff that won the gold medal next fight up. Do you think that
the reason why that's not going to happen is because Bozy is not a manager. Bozy is he's strictly training. You give him the fight, and I don't know how his process is. If he's going to go look at the fighter and say, "Oh yeah, we can do this, we can go do that. We'll make the fight," or if he's just like, hey, get whatever you guys send at us, we're gonna be prepared to do what we got to do. But if there's a manager that's watching right now and happens to hear something like that, it would definitely put that light bulb in the head. I think that's definitely what should happen. You kind of match to make that all of that natural ability, make it look beautiful again, and then, like you said, get back to getting some grind work going. Yeah, like that.
I had a question for you, Sean.
Yeah.
When you start in your career, is it on the mind of most boxers that I want to come in and get as many knockouts early in my career as possible, because that may be the path to becoming a prize fighter?
Right. I think it was like maybe my 5th or 6th professional fight, and I think it was a 4-rounder, and I swept 3 rounds, dropped the dude a couple times, and my dad was like, it was early in my career. I went back to the corner, and my dad was like, "Yo, you got to get him out of there." And I looked at him, and he knew without me saying anything, he knew what I was thinking. He said, "Sean, you got to get this knockout. People, when they see your record, they need to see knockouts on your record. You got to go out there and you got to stop him." He said, you trust your conditioning. This is the 4th round. This is the last round. Go out there and do what you got to do. And I went out there and got the guy out of there. I didn't understand myself at that point in time, but my dad understood. The more knockouts people see on the record will help get you noticed, help get you on that platform that you want to be on. The other side of that is my dad also knew pretty soon we're not going to have fighters in front of us like this. So get these knockouts, push yourself now, because at some point the competition level is going to be so high that fights are going to be ending in the last rounds. And the other side of that was he wanted to see me work hard every single round, So, but yeah, I think a lot of fighters, that if the fighters don't, the management, they definitely have that on their mind. Eddie Hearn definitely has it on his mind. He wants his fighter knocking out everybody at this point.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Moran and Hot Rod. I tried his name on air.
Morel.
And What did I say? Moran?
Brand, yeah.
Yeah, my fault. Morel,
Okay.
Morel and Hot Rod. Yeah, I tried Hot Rod's name on air, and I was like, man, that was embarrassing. Hold up, I think I got one more super chat from Matt about Andy Cruz. Yeah, he said also, the more I see the fighters perform at 135, Keyshawn, and Cruz, the more I think Tank runs them over. Sorry. Maybe Abdullah stops Tank though. Ooh, dang.
Damn.
Wow.
Stops Tank, not beat Tank. Stops.
Yeah. Matt, Matt got one more, but I'm saving that for the end. I see it though, Matt, and I got you.
Yeah, I
Go
think
ahead.
it's all those guys are too green to think about Tank just yet. Obviously, Abdullah, who's not even 20 yet. Keyshawn and Andy are obviously closer and older to that than Abdullah, but even those two, they got some fights they got to get in before they could realistically start considering Tank.
Agreed, 100%. Morel versus Hot Rod. Give it to me. I think this one we're gonna be pretty quick on this one. I mean, he looked good. Listen, I will say this: when we talk about a fighter moving up and the punch power not translating, it's not only that the fighter moved up and he's fighting a bigger guy. It's not that the power didn't translate. It's also got to take into account that he's fighting a bigger fighter who can observe that they're fighting bigger fighters. I'm speaking to David Morel as well as David Benavidez. The punch resistance now increases as well. So you go from 168, you're bigger than guys, and you can actually punch. Now you're moving up, you're not bigger than guys, and they can actually take punches that the lower weight can't take. You know what I mean? So don't be so quick to say, the power didn't translate, the power didn't move up with them. It's not so much that the power didn't move up, but you got to also understand the body is bigger, the resistance is different.
I think that's the same thing. We looked at the Dave Benavidez fight.
Yeah. Because I was out there and I was hearing like people, they want to say, well, we'll see if the power translates or transitions, whatever you want to call it, for Morel. It didn't for Benavidez. I'm like, it ain't that it didn't. It's just that he had a guy moving away from him. Other than that, take that into account as well. Punch precision is number one. And then you got to also talk about where that fighter is when he gets hit. We can tell that Tank has real power because he's hit guys moving away from them and he's knocked them down and knocked them out. But we can also see the guys that have moved into Tank's power got it even worse than the other guys. David Benavidez had a guy moving away from him the whole night. Hot Rod was in range and distance, but still really wasn't that offensive. You know what I mean? So I thought overall it was a good fight, but I definitely don't want to jump on the back of the power not moving up with David Morel. I don't think that that's the case.
Well, yeah, they both Davids just wound up having super similar performances against guys that, and David fought a former champion, whereas Hot Rod isn't accomplished like Vosdick is, but both guys that were super competent professionals that weren't really trying to win, but weren't trying to stink the place out either. They were trying to give resistance and make these two young guys work for everything. So they made them look, less than spectacular. But I guess, we're just finding out, that jump from 68 to 75 is real. Not everyone's going to Roy Jones it. And even Roy Jones started going the distance a little bit more at 175 than he did at 68 and 60. And it took Andre Ward, it took him a couple fights until that Kovalev rematch where he looked 100% like the 168 Dre. James Toney never won a title at light heavyweight, moving up from super middleweight. Canelo got knocked off by Bivol. So it's a real jump, and it showed in their fights, but they got the job done. And Morel didn't get exposed or anything. Like this is what he probably needed, was 12 rounds from a real vet.
And they were saying that I was hearing people say that David Benavidez got exposed, and I didn't feel like he got exposed. I feel like he just had a vet in front of him that knew how to move, and it ended up being just it wasn't the fight that we expected, which I think is also the narrative in terms of the main event that we'll get to a little bit later. But we'll move on. Antt, did you have anything on Morel? Go ahead.
Quick thing. Would you guys like this? The winner gets David Benavidez out of better BF Bivol. The loser gets Dave Morel.
I always love them. Unless somebody gets knocked out, I always love a fighter being able to have another chance at that big level. win, lose, or draw, especially when you're going up against the elite. I always feel like it needs to happen. Yeah, I think the winner of Better Be and Bivol, it's got to be. It's time for David Benavidez. He needs those kind of fights now. He's a star in the eyes of boxing. He needs to become a star in the eyes of everybody else.
And that's a big fight with the loser.
Yeah.
That fight could be a rematch, in my opinion, though. Better be and Bivol. I mean, if it's what we expect it to be, kind of like that Benavidez versus Plant fight, which delivered everything that I wanted it to be. I feel like this fight could be similar.
Okay.
I see that too. Bacoli and Anderson.
Sean, I remember you saying this maybe a year ago. He's like, he has little mistakes, little things that can catch up with him at the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
Sean, this was the fight. Well, we seen with Charles Martin, right?
Yeah, we saw the mistakes firsthand with Charles Martin. I think before that, he probably got away with a lot of things that maybe others didn't see. I certainly saw it. I know that there's definitely people in the boxing world that saw it. I don't know how many of the fans saw, his ability to pull out and get away from it. That is the most amateur move in boxing, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but that's something that all amateurs do at some point in their career. I didn't do it, but I only didn't do it specifically because I was fighting taller guys, and it was always taught to me, if you're on the outside, you're on the end of the shots. And so I never was a fighter that went in and out unless I was on my toes and I was actually bouncing that way. But that clearly is his Achilles heel. But before the fight started, man, when we got there, I mean, I'm hearing everybody in England like Bacoli. I'm like, I don't know. And so I watched a little bit. And I said, yo, this dude is serious. But before the fight started, I'm looking at this paper, man, and I'm like, I don't like the way this look. I'm seeing 24 against 35, I think Bacoli is, or 35, give or take. And then I saw that Bacoli's 286 pounds. He's 6'6". I said, man, and he can box. On top of that, it ain't like he's a big dude that's sloppy, that's just walking up on you, waiting on the big punch. He works his way in.
32, Sean.
32. Yeah. Works his way in. He sets it up, and he runs his hands. I felt like we saw a classic heavyweight fighter on fight night, and we saw a young heavyweight fighter on fight night, and Anderson didn't. It just was too much for Anderson. He said, and I love what he said after the fight. I'm sorry, now let you speak. He said, man, I'm 24 years old. You could be 24 against 35 at welterweight, super middleweight, the lightweights. That heavyweight punch for a grown man hitting a kid is different. You know what I mean? So go ahead, y'all. Oh, Lord.
Go ahead, Zittel.
I mean, to your point, Sean, Martin Bacoli is a beast. I mean, he's big as shit, and he's smooth. He's smooth. Yeah, he's a beast, and he's smooth. And I watched the tape a little too late because last week I was a little dismissive of his chances. I watched some more tape on him once I got to LA, and I said, "Uh-oh." I'm worried for Jared now. I'm worried for our American heavyweight hope, And
I showed him in LA, didn't know much about him. I'm just following the flow of the show. And then, every show we did, they said a little bit more about him. And before fight night, I said, man, let me take a look at this dude. And I said, oh snap. Then right before I told you, I looked at the paper. I was like, man, something don't look right.
Well, I mean, he keeps that left hand cocked at his waist and he's smooth with it. And right away, he just started touching with his jab, not reacting to anything Jared was doing, not worried about anything he was doing. And then he displayed good fluidity and hand speed for a dude 6'6", 280, real power. And then a good punch selection. Like, that right hand's cocked with the left hand by the waist, but then he knocks him down with the uppercut. Sweeps the right hand. So one of them came off an uppercut. The other one, he sweeps the right hand, doesn't need to throw it. So he could do all types of stuff with this brick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's a beast. He's a real threat in the heavyweight division. But for my guy, Jared Anderson, who my heart does go out to, if I'm being honest, right?
100%.
And who showed mad heart.
100%.
This is why being motivated to become heavyweight champion of the world is better than being motivated by the money. And I appreciated his honesty with us all the time. Like, I'm not exactly in love with the idea of getting punched in the face. And,
Hey, my computer crashed
I'm
again.
not particularly, what's up, DD?
Computer crashed.
Crashed again.
Oh, dang.
Hold on.
How you the IT guy? Your computer crashed more than anybody. Naeem, what you got? About 10 more minutes?
Yeah.
Well, let me make it quick then, so Naeem could cook.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So anyway, yeah, but for Jared, you know, because he couldn't. He was looking at it like everyone else wants this for me more than I do. Some hardware, some belts, some accomplishment next to my name. That's not what's driving me. I want to get paid and feed my family. And in doing this fight, he did that at a higher level than ever. He probably walked away with more money than ever. But and that's a good thing. But had he had the whole goal just to been heavyweight champion, he probably would have kept taking the route Top Rank was giving him, slowly building him and preparing him for those kinds of big assignments. He got a chance to make some big money on this card. He jumped at it. They wanted him to switch his trainer. He switched his trainer. And the result wound up being what it is. And, you know, I just hope that, because he still has all the skills, come back, maybe gets Bukoli down the line. Could just, you know, run your own race, keep improving your skills, and maybe have a better game plan a second time around down the line years from now. But Bukoli, man, he's a big threat in the division for everybody.
Yeah. I would say 27 years old, he should be ready. Naeem, you got anything?
Yeah. You know, you guys touched on a lot of stuff that I agree with Big Baby, the leaning back, the dipping and dodging. And I think when you at a heavyweight, you need to have your hands up more, you know, instead of trying to be a slick boxer. Every shot that he got caught with, his head was snapping back. I mean, dude was in there. Bukoli reminded me almost like of a Foreman, you know, not wasting shots. He had the thump on him. And I like Jared Anderson, and I think he has a future, but I don't think he'll dethrone anybody that's champ now. I think that his if he ever does become a champ, it's going to be even after 27. I think some years after the guys that are the Usyk and the Fury.
I don't see too many of those guys having much more time though.
Yeah, once they're going, but then you still got guys that are coming up. You know, Anthony Joshua might get a belt again. Danny Dubois. I just think that, you know, we saw that there's levels to it. You know, we were at the Grand Arrival on Tuesday, and Jared he came out flashy. He was talking his shit, and Coley was like, "I'm not here for games. I knock him out." I was like, "Damn, all right." And and Jared didn't look confident. He said, "All right, we'll see." And
And go ahead, Antt.
Real quick, I just hope this is one of these losses where you learn a lot. This is one that refocus, go back to the ring, go to the drawing boards, work on the little things. It's the little things that's gonna kill him. Because if you get up in there with a Fury, Usyk, it could be real bad. Like after one, you probably went down again and won. Like if you get up in there with a real killer. So that's little things.
Did he show heart? Was him showing heart? Was it not smart though? Because every time he got knocked down, he got back up and went straight at him instead of like, all right, let me try to get through this round. Like, was that a bad idea?
To me, that's a part of the experience process. You know, you you have to experience getting hurt in some capacity in order to know how to respond from it. A lot of guys. My first time truly being hurt was when I got dropped by Errol, and everybody like praises me for looking at him and saying let's go. But like I told this story before, I said let's go because I ain't want him coming at me. You know what I mean? So I figured if I showed myself to be mad strong and mad and mean and he would be a little more like apprehensive to come get me. But nobody told me or taught me that. You know what I mean? It's usually something you have to experience. But we're all fighters. So the thing we know to do, we know to go into the fire. We don't know how. You know, it's like you got to get burned to know, like, all right, you know, let me take some time here and get on the back foot, you know. So I think and shock too. You know, when you get you shock like that, the other side of that is you want to get it right back. So
And
Yeah.
and then Sean, like you said, heavyweight division, that was like brutal knockdowns. I think the Earl was brutal. You got back up, but the other two you had was like flash knockdowns, right? Like AB and Terrence. You're not
my
yeah,
knockdowns, yeah,
you're not
yeah.
gonna get a flash knockdown in most likely in heavyweight division.
Oh yeah, damn. Oh, well, all right, Ant, I will salute that. Moving on, and I'll give you go ahead on Andy Ruiz and the original big baby Israil Miller.
Oh, you talking to me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh man, Big Baby. First off, I don't know what you do to get in shape, but you look good, man. You look good. At the press conference, my whole thing for the fight changed. That I expected him to come up there about 400 pounds. But my man,
Big
actually,
Baby or Ruiz?
big.
I mean, they both.
I get you. I'll talk about Big Baby, but you're right. And they both come in all in shape. But yeah, Big Baby, he looked good, man. Came in shape. Came ready to fight. I think somebody dropped. Who he lose to last time? Daniel Dubois, yeah. And he didn't look good at that fight. Out of shape, looked sloppy. And man, made Andy work for it and work for it to a draw. He possibly could have edged it. I don't know. It was a real boring fight, to be honest with you guys. I think it was the boringest one of the fight of the night. I don't know how you feel, Zittel.
Oh no, go ahead, Naeem.
Go ahead now.
I don't know if I would call it boring. You know, there was two big dudes going at it. You can see Andy Ruiz getting worn down. That's a lot of weight on you, you know. The thing, you know, casual fans, when people boo fight sometimes, they're looking at who was winning at the end or who got beat up. And if we're going by who got beat up, then I would say maybe if anybody got beat up, it was probably Ruiz, but
yeah,
maybe gave away them rounds early in the fight. It's a point system. I had it probably a draw or for Big Baby. It was a close fight for sure.
I'm okay with the draw.
It's something I want to see again. Not really. Not really.
Yeah, that's what Sergio Mora said too, I think. But
I just want to. Oh, I'm sorry, Zittel. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No. It's on you. Go.
Well, I just thought I agree with Naeem. You know, Miller did no worse than a draw. If anybody won the fight, it definitely looked like Israil Miller did more to win the fight. But, you know, in the middle rounds, he started to look like the guy that fought on HBO, fought early on DAZN before his whole PED controversy with Joshua. But back when his calling card was this 300-pound dude is, you know, got good cardio. He could throw a lot of punches. He was hurting Ruiz and seemingly breaking him down to the body in the middle rounds. And it seemed like if he just kept working, he could, you know, maybe surprise everybody and stop Ruiz just on conditioning. But he kind of took his foot off the gas and allowed the judges to find something for Ruiz there. And then just early on from Ruiz, it looked like he had never hit a man who could absorb his power like that before. You know, he was hitting 300 pounds of weight, and you could tell he would hit it. And he wasn't used to someone not even when he got dominated by Joshua in the rematch, the handful of times he touched Joshua's legs would do a dance. He hit Miller early with some of his best stuff. Yeah. And usually that would keep the guy off of him to where he could pace himself the way he likes to when he's not in shape. And he couldn't really do that. So he was fortunate to get out of there with a draw.
I didn't know that he was a kickboxer. I just found that out the other day. Yeah. That's crazy. 300-pound kickboxer is crazy.
Yeah, no, he's mad athletic, and you know a lot of excitement around him. Quite a few years ago, when he was, you know, when he first came into the boxing pro game and was really doing his thing. But the only thing I really want to say is I want to salute the original Big Baby, and I'm gonna continue to call him the original Big Baby. He impressed me the other night. I felt like he was on a felt like he had
we're muted. Are we muted? They're saying in the chat.
I know. Yeah, I told DDA. So whatever happens, but yeah, we're recording, so it'll be all good. But I thought he had plateaued. I thought that he was as good as he was gonna be, and I thought that he was more talk than he was bite. You know, more bark than he was bite. And he showed me the other night, man. I did not expect him to come out punching the way he was punching with the and finishing, trying to steal rounds the way he was trying to steal rounds. I had him winning the fight. I did have it close, not a draw. I did have Jarrell Big Baby Miller winning the fight. And I do hope that he gets another opportunity as long as he's going to stay consistent and perform the way that he performed the other night. Ryo and Pitbull.
Now, do you want to touch on Terence before you get out of here?
Let me touch on both of these and then I'll go.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
cool.
With Ryo and Pitbull, I thought, I'd text you, Sean. I thought that he boxed beautifully.
Yes.
He used his height, the range. He fought smart the whole fight. Didn't let Pitbull get too many clean shots on him. And I thought didn't one of the judges have it a draw?
I think one may have had Pitbull winning.
Yeah,
I
I thought he won 9-3 easily.
Easy.
Controlled that fight. It was beautiful fight by him. And I don't know what that means moving forward to another 140-pound champ, but I think he really exposed Pitbull for anybody that has that type of height and reach on him.
Yeah. I've always said this about Pitbull. If he can't get close to you and then punch, he won't be effective. He doesn't know how to punch and move at the same time. He has literally no jab. I honestly think that he threw a jab one time and actually hit Ryo, but I think he might have caught Ryo with that jab because we're not prepared for no jab. We know you're not gonna throw none. So, but I think he just moving forward. I'm gonna say the same thing I said before. He need to learn how to use his hands and his feet at the same time. And if he can't close the range and punch while he's closing the range, guys can continue to move on him and outboxing.
Go ahead. Now touch on Terence.
He might need to go back to 135. Actually, Pitbull. Because, he's just so short. Nobody's going to be that short at 140. When it comes to Terence and Madrimov, I thought it was a close fight. I actually had it 116, 112, like one of the judges did. I was agreeing with you, Sean, when you were commentating on the fight. And whoever else was in there with you, I don't know who it was that was talking, but
Sergio Moore?
I don't know. It was two people.
Why we name dropping?
They was glazing Madrimov, like
glazing.
Anything that he did, it was like, oh, he's so good, and he wasn't talking about nothing that Bud was doing. I was like, this is some seriously biased shit right here.
Yeah,
you was biased, Sean, but yeah. I feel like because we haven't seen Madrimov, we don't know what he's really capable of. It's hard to say that was a bad outing by Terence Crawford. It wasn't that exciting of a fight. One thing I would have liked to see him do is possibly go back to orthodox because he was getting caught with so many right hands. And one thing that he never really does, once he goes southpaw, he kind of stays there throughout the rest of the fight. And I wanted to see him go back and make that adjustment. But he took some shots. In that 12th round, he closed out strong. He looked like he even hurt him a little bit. And, as a fan, you wish that he would have done that earlier or more in the fight, but it was such a calculated fight, and Madrimov was super awkward. The guy from the zone that was doing the unofficial scorecard, he gave the first two rounds to Madrimov. Madrimov didn't even land a punch in the first round. I'm like, what are you looking at, bro?
Oh, man.
I'm like, oh, this is some real smoke that Eddie Hearn is putting out there, blowing up their ass. Because if it was one round that I know he did not lose, it was the first round.
Yeah,
he threw a couple shots. He wasn't even throwing punches really. It was like he kept doing the feint shit. It was real weird and awkward. But
the first 5, I may have gave Madrimov 1 round.
I went down there without paper, so when I scored the fight, I usually have my paper, and I'm able to, actually jot down what the round or whatever. I think I had Madrimov win the fourth round. I think, I had it 1-3 or 1-3 after 4.
I never believe that comp box shit. That comp box shit is some bullshit. It's like, I'm like, how is he outlanding him?
Yeah,
most of the fight they had him outlanding him. Like, no way.
Listen, man, I had a lot of people, hitting me up after the fight, telling me that they agree with everything that they heard me say, and they didn't understand how, You know, the other commentaries felt like, you know, they weren't agreeing with me and all these other things. Listen, this is what I'm gonna say about that. And I think I think two things happens. I think first of all, we'll stick with the performance of Terence Crawford at this point. We haven't seen Terence in this kind of resistance in a very long time. So it's hard for us to conceive and understand that somebody that we don't know could put up a fight like that, and somebody like Errol Spence couldn't do it.
Yeah.
He was able to do something that Errol wasn't able to do because of the style he came to the ring with. Guess what? I went 10 rounds with the dude because I came to the ring with a style that Errol didn't come to the ring with. I remember when Errol got into the crash and everybody started saying, we want to see Shawn Porter against Terence. And then after my fight happened with Terence, they said, well, all right, well, now we really need to see Errol with Terence. And you didn't get half of what you got from Errol, from what you got from me, because styles make fights. The thing is, nobody knew Israil Madrimov. So nobody understood what he was about. He's strong for his size. He has a lot of experience, although it only says he has 10 fights. And on top of that, he's very, very focused and mentally ready. And people don't understand. A crash don't hurt as bad when you see the crash coming. When you can see it and brace for things, it don't hurt as bad as the crash when you get blindsided. So the same thing when you in the ring and you know somebody hit hard, and you know everything they got coming at you is going to be hard, you're ready for it. Mentally, you've prepared yourself. So physically, it's not going to have the same effect. You know what I mean? So,
Sean, not to cut you off.
Ahead. No, go.
We'll get back to Rayo and Pitbull. We're going to let Naeem get out of here.
Yes, sir.
And,
Yeah, I'm gonna head out. Good talking with y'all, man.
Appreciate it, bro.
I want to hear what y'all had to say about the other fight, so I'm gonna tune in. But thanks always, bro.
I ain't bringing you back unless you bring more energy. I ain't bringing you back unless you bring more energy.
I ain't bringing no energy today.
Nah, and you got to change that goddamn picture behind you too.
Okay, all right. Let me get a cup of coffee. I'm about to go do radio.
All right, big dog. Enjoy, man.
Later.
All right, later, bro. Stay
night.
blessed. All right, let's get back to Rayo Pitbull, man. First off, Sean, I've never seen Rayo look like that. Oh, my bad. Shout out to Robert Garcia. The Benavidez used to have Rayo. Shout out to them, great trainers, but Robert Garcia
was still in the corner. He was still in the corner. Yeah.
Okay. So Robert Garcia is
just real quick, Zittel, do you know anything about the I don't know, I'll just call it a relationship at this point, but the dynamic, excuse me. Do you know anything about the dynamic why Rayo didn't train with Benavidez? I have one small understanding that I came up with for myself, but I didn't know if you had anything.
Yeah. Yeah, I think what it was, I was interviewing Rayo back when that was all happening, and what it was is the Benavidez camp was developing as more of a knockout artist, offense first at 135, because Rayo has power, especially at lightweight, he has power. So they were making him this like dynamic, hard punching lightweight, you know, offense first. And he didn't keep his hands in as good a position under Benavidez Sr., and he was kind of relying on the pulls. But Rayo doesn't have next level reflexes to be, you know, working off the pull game a lot. So he'd be getting caught because his hands were down. So after that first Colbert fight, Rayo, I think he told me, I went back to my original coach back in, I think he's up in Oregon, Rayo. And he said to get back to boxing, which I guess was his original style. Because, you know, going back to when he'd headlined the preliminaries, when you would call him on those Fox pay-per-views, he was, loading up on body shots and knocking guys out like that. So he just felt like he fell a little bit too much in love with his power. He didn't throw them under the bus, but just saying, I was falling in love with that style, that power. So I went back to my original coach, and then he went to the original coach for the Chris Colbert rematch, where he started to show signs of what he would eventually pull off last weekend, and then he brings Robert in. And now you got this improved Rayo Valenzuela who beat Pitbull. Yeah,
and A+ performance.
Yeah, I think he already had that in his arsenal. That ability to move, that ability to with that timing. I mean, getting undershots and everything. I was impressed as well. But I feel like that's always been there, a part of his game, just not the game that he exploited. More was exploited was the power that he's had for a very long time. And I actually thought that, even though I was saying I thought Pitbull would win the fight, I was saying it because I thought that at some point Ryo might get caught. And if he get caught, is he going to be able to recover? We've seen him get knocked out before. And so it was really hard for me to see him hurting Pitbull, but it was easier for me to see Pitbull hurting him. But when the fight started and he started doing his thing, I mean, that's all I hate to say it like this, but that's really all you need to beat Pitbull. You need to be able to move, you need to be able to make him miss, and you need to be able to make him pay.
Sean, easier said than done. That takes 12 rounds.
Yeah.
Shape, a little bit of power. You have to work for
that power. Yep.
Everybody ain't got that. Everybody ain't got that.
He had a little scare in the 11th round too, Antt. No, I'm saying, like, to your point, like,
it came in the final 10 seconds.
Yeah,
man. And what did you? I was like, you better not get this up.
So I would say about the 8th round, I'm like, there's nothing Pitbull could do. This man got everything, and there's nothing you can bring out of your game to get this guy tonight. I'm like, at this point, you need to treat from the 9th round on like it's the 12th round, and you're down 11-0, and try to get the knockout Pitbull. Like,
Pitbull did the little zigzag one time
and tried to catch it,
and almost got off. But that's the kind of stuff he needs to do more of. He needs to be able to explode both ways. That explosive footwork gets him to the guy, and then you just gotta be number one, you gotta be accurate, but then number two, you gotta understand that the first punch probably won't land because they're bracing themselves and they're getting ready for defense. You know what I mean? So I think, man,
you need to bring in what you used to always do, Sean. He needs to start jabbing his way in instead of I'm gonna get to you. You get the jab going, Pitbull.
Like Mike Tyson and Shawn Porter, knowing it's gonna fall short, but I can't come in naked.
Yep.
Have to come in with this double jab. I can't.
I tweeted it. If I was gonna work with Pitbull, I would only work 2 things with him: work on moving with his feet and throwing his jab, and I would work on some quick footwork. That zigzag that he did, that I was like, that's Shawn Porter right there. But then there's no follow up beyond that. You know what I mean? And then the other side, remember what I would always say, I've said this on the show before. My dad would say first combination, second combination, and the third combination is when you start. Pitbull is 1 punch, 2 punch, and then it's over. It needs to be 1 punch, 2 punch, slide over, 3 punch, 4 punch, slide over, and now I got you in the box, and now we ready to work. It's exhausting, y'all. It sounds exhausting.
Yeah.
And when people talking about, oh, you can come back and do, that's the kind of shit that I had to do, and I can't do that no more. It's too much.
And like I said, I still think Pitbull give people hell, but I would like him to do more body work. You're right. You're literally eye to eye with my belly button. Hit it. Go for overhand lefts and stuff like that. But I'm still like,
I know you're gonna pause me, but I'll be eye to eye with your belly button on Saturday.
Pause. But at the end of the day, I still want to see Pitbull in the ring with a lot of guys. This is what I love about boxing. You know, some people, I hate when people write people off like, oh, you're a bum, you trash. Whatever. You got a loss. I still want to see him ring with some guys. He still give guys hell. I don't want a rematch. I don't know how you guys feel. Zittel?
No, I mean, well, I was just gonna say no, but I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it because I know, like you were saying, you felt like he was walking away with the fight, and when I was watching the fight, I'm like, okay, he is at a certain point midway through the fight, he's outboxing Cruz, but judges score body language too, and Cruz was still coming forward, throwing bombs, missing a lot of them, but still landing some, still making an effect when he landed. And even though Ryo was boxing really good, there were times his body language wasn't always, he was shaky at times. And I think that's why the split decision was fair. But man, no, in terms of a rematch, look, Ryo is in big business now. He's always had some youthful promise to him. He's a good looking young kid. You give this good looking young kid now who's a puncher and showed us some skills in this fight, and you give him a belt. Now he's in business for real money against Teofimo and Ryan Garcia. Those are very marketable fights now. he's in business. He's in business with this upset.
Absolutely.
Two losses and it don't matter.
Yeah, listen, he's in business, but the business cannot work against him, and the business of boxing does that all the time, right? Right, Zittel?
Mm-hmm.
Business of boxing does that all the time. I think we'll come back to that a little bit more tomorrow. Yeah, because we're doing a show tomorrow. We'll start the show at 2 p.m. I don't know how I'm gonna pull this off yet, but I'm gonna pull it off. And
I hate that I have to probably miss it, man, for this Los Angeles.
Yeah, I'm about to miss it too.
Presser, man.
I do too, man. I do too. We'll have Ryo on. Bud just called. We'll have Bud on. And I confirmed Bacoli as well. And I told the guys before this week was over, I said, yo, we're gonna have everybody that won. We're gonna have everybody on the show. But we know that we gotta pace ourselves through this whole show and things like that. So we can't have everybody on, but we do got those 3 guys on tomorrow. If there's anything I could do to make sure that you guys are part of it, I'll definitely make sure that I do that. But let's get some closing thoughts on Terence Crawford versus Israil Madrimov.
Before we start, Sean, I just want to give Sean some props, man, because he doesn't. It's not like me. He's not crazy about having to pick every fight right. But basically, everybody thought Crawford would keep his knockout streak extended. I don't want to speak for every person in boxing and boxing media, but.
He said I did.
No, you said this fight would go the distance.
Yeah.
I did.
Sean said this would be a tougher fight than expected. It's going to be a competitive fight. It's going to go the distance. That's what happened. He also said Ryo's path to victory was turning Pitbull in the middle of the ring, turning them all night long. So my man Sean, who gets too much flack on, not that you care, Sean, you get too much on social media, but I'm just pointing out that you called it on both.
Yeah.
So anyway, carry on.
Yeah. Well, the other side that I was going to go into, in terms of Crawford's fight, now that the world knows that he and I are friends, anything that I say, you got to understand psychologically, anything that I say that's pro Crawford, it's going to look like, oh, he's talking about his friend. It's not going to look like, oh, he's talking about the fighter in the ring. And I just need everybody to understand that I tried my best to do my job first and not put friendships first. I even, while I was doing Daniel Jacobs and Shane Mosley,
boom.
as I promised, as soon as that fight was over, I took my headphones off and I said, what the hell did I just do? Like I could sense that I was like, I wasn't giving enough to Shane. You know
why everybody text me about your problem?
Yeah. And then you confirmed it when you was like, yo, we light you up on the show. I said, oh damn, like I knew, like in my conscience, something didn't sound right. I feel like I called that fight how I saw it on fight night. I feel like Crawford hit Madrimov more than he got hit in every round. And another thing too, if you understand that I'm friends with Crawford, then you have to understand that I would have concern and I'd be worried about Crawford. If I see my man getting hit too much, I'm gonna say, yo, you're getting hit too much. There was moments when he was getting hit with clean right hands, and I'm like, yo, he needs to switch. He's giving that right hand it's getting in too easy. You know what I mean? But I didn't have a feeling of worry and doubt that he was losing rounds. The 12th round, I felt like I knew what I saw. He knew he needed to make this a show. If I don't make this a show and at least try to end this the way everybody expected this fight to end, I'm not gonna see the next day that I was expecting to see when I got out of the ring. This was a prime Crawford performance. Crawford doing exactly what he always does. Got hit a little bit more than we've seen him get hit in recent times. But if you go back to seeing other fighters hit him, and even some guys like Green Machine, was it Green Machine?
Mean
Machine.
You're thinking of the New York Jets when they were good.
Machine,
or the Pop Warner team in Vegas.
Mean Machine, hurting them. Gamboa, I think at one point got off him. We've seen that in the past. But then he polished all that up, and on top of that, gotta understand the level that he's fighting at. He's fighting Errol. He knows he can't afford to make no mistakes. He's on his P's and his Q's. With Madrimov, understand this guy got 10 fights. Even though I know everything that this dude about, it still ain't no way this dude gonna beat me. You know what I mean? So we saw him eating right hands that we wouldn't normally see him eating. psychologically. He told himself, this man ain't gonna hurt me. If I get beat, it's gonna be by Canelo Alvarez and nobody else. You know what I mean? So we even saw him take a lot of shots, and I was like, yo, this is a 154 pounder, man. Don't take those punches. But you know, he's a little lax than he should have been because of the situation. But I felt like he handled it.
I remember the first thing I said about this fight. I said, Bud would have to break him. My man never was break on that fight.
Yeah,
He was tough, came to fight, awkward style, was just there to fight, man, and gave Bud everything he wanted and more. Gave a good welcome to 154. Like, if you're gonna take my belt, you're gonna have to take it. I'm not gonna lay down for you. I don't care who the F you are. And he gave us a good night of boxing. I know a lot of people, when your expectation is so high for a guy like Terence Bud Crawford, anything below that is disappointment. So it's like, you ain't knock him out. You should see all the texts I got. Well, I thought your boy was so good. Your boy would get washed. I'm like, bro, relax.
Yeah.
But it's the pros and cons of the sport of boxing, man.
Yeah.
Time Terence won a belt. I thought he won the fight. I said 7-5, could have been 8-4. I just thought he won the fight. And
I walked past a couple guys that felt like he lost the fight. I ain't gonna say their names, but some of the media guys that we cool with.
Crazy.
Yeah, they wanted my reaction. Like the announcement wasn't made yet, and they wanted my announcement. Like, what do you think? They didn't hear me ringside. So,
and at the same time, Sean, when you're working ringside, I know you try to stay professional at all times, but when you hear somebody constantly bad mouthing your friend. I'm trying to stay professional, but like, come on, man. I'm seeing something too. And I've been in there with him and I see something else too. And so I respect, I mean, we was getting both sides. We was getting somebody's side and we was getting somebody else's side.
Yeah.
I mean, commentating is what it is, man. At the end of the day, I think Crawford had a great performance. I don't know what, I'm trying to think. I don't know who got belts. Maybe what's his name?
Well, hold up before you go there. This question for both of y'all. Did Madrimov do enough to make you want to see him again?
Yes, I think he beats a lot of guys 154. Goes out tell.
Yeah. I mean, he was a player before this fight. That's why he had a belt. Of course, Tim Tszyu, Virgil Ortiz.
Good fight.
Yeah, those are good fights. Those are good
fights. My thing is his style is awkward. Yeah. And I know that prevented a lot of the offensive that we thought we would see from Crawford. That kind of style against some other guys, I think makes sense because those guys are going to do what we expect them to do, especially Virgil and Tim Tszyu and Fundora. The three of those guys at 154 are definitely going to do what we want them to do. That's going to come together and be the big bang. This one, both these guys too smart for it to be what we kind of wanted it to be, needed it to be, and we didn't get the big bang that we thought we would, that the boxing world needed.
Well, yeah, it was a tense chess match. It wasn't a great fight, but it was a tense chess match. The whole, especially as once Madrimov actually started to work his way into the fight with the right hand, it was like, oh, we got some competition here. And I had it 116, 112 in that area, and when you're used to a guy getting the knockout every time or winning 10 or 11 or 9 rounds in a 12-round fight, those 4 rounds the other guy's winning, it puts more emphasis on, wow, this is a competitive fight for Terence because we're not used to seeing it. This is the first fight he went the distance in 8 years. And Madrimov fought really well. But Terence did, like, coming into this fight, the things we were used to seeing from Madrimov was getting jazzy, like you say, Sean, and dropping the lead hand, switching in between while throwing combinations, switching his feet in mid combination, taking these crazy angles. And Crawford made him fight in a lot more traditional Eastern European style, feint heavy. Bomac told me before the fight he better keep those hands up, and he did.
Yeah,
kind of like Savannah Marshall against Clarissa, heading into the fight, you're used to them dropping that lead hand, getting creative. And being against a better athlete who's a little quicker and sharper to the punch, now the hands come up, and that threw off Terence's counterpunching. But he closed the show strong in rounds 11 and 12. And at the end of the day, he accomplishes something, being champion from 135 to 154 Only Floyd Mayweather's done it. Oscar De La Hoya, Manny Pacquiao, Shane Mosley, Roberto Duran, and Pernell Whitaker. Not a bad list to join, right?
Hell yeah.
That's a hell of a list.
Yeah.
So that's all the good things, but that right hand, Sean, you hit him with the right hand a lot when you fought him. And Terence is going to fight most of his fight as a southpaw. So if you are educated and got a real sharp right hand, he could be had with that shot, as you and Kaviaskis and Benavidez and even Gamboa years ago. And now Madrimov, I mean, he's a human being. He's not a perfect robot. He's good. All fighters, even the best ones, have some flaws. But I do look at that, and when I try to weigh in his chances against Canelo, I got to go with Canelo because Charlo is a damn near 6 foot, 154 pounder. He's fought his whole career there. And Terence Crawford is a different beast than Jermell Charlo. There's levels. I mean, Jermell was undisputed, but Terence is a greater fighter. We know that. But Jermell, a big career 54, had to be on his bike all night because of the physicality of Canelo. And even while being a constant moving target, Canelo dropped him with the right hand. The same kind of right hand that Madrimov was able to land. Go ahead, Sean. Go ahead.
Number one, he came out on his bike.
He
And he got touched and then got on his bike. Number two, and I'm sorry, but number two, and I was like, he didn't get dropped.
He took a knee.
Took a knee.
Knockdown's a knockdown.
But he didn't get clipped and go down. He got hit, and then when left, went right, it said, no, you ain't getting this on me. Which, you know, in retrospect, I gotta appreciate and respect, because there's a lot of fighters that aren't that smart to do something like that and really just save themselves. May not have saved his career, but he saved himself. You know what I mean? And he finished the fight on his feet, which I think is what he was. I'm sorry to cut you there, but I said, man, the kid, he came out on his bike. It would be different if he felt the strength and the power of Canelo, and that's what caused him to get on his bike. Crawford, ain't no telling what that boy gonna do. I looking at this fight, I do believe that 54 lead 68 alone, because you weren't running into the same thing with Canelo as you are with the Benavidez, with the Davids, with the Davids moving up to 175. It's a bigger body, and the absorption of the punch is different, and you got to be pinpoint accurate, and on top of that, you got to be so different, defensively responsible and ready for everything. And unlike Pitbull, Canelo knows how to use his jab to get close to you. He knows how to use his feet and his feints to get close to you. Canelo's still the complete package. He's just not the A++ fighter that he used to be. He's just the A fighter now. I think that's A versus A+. Crawford's A+, but the weight makes it, to me, that size makes it A versus A. On top of that, Canelo at 168, even though he's shorter, he's probably the same height as Crawford, maybe
has longer arms.
Crawford's the taller, longer guy, but the muscle and the body, the makeup is 100% legit at 168
for Canelo, right?
Yeah.
Is it possible, guys, he could outbox Canelo? Bank the early rounds. Canelo's not fighting early, and then try to outbox and stay away, be on the bike for the rest of the night. Obviously, we know. I don't think Terence Crawford has that in him.
I don't think he would want to do that. I think he could. Yeah, I mean,
just outsmart him.
Realistically, he can do that. I do believe that.
I mean, Mayweather at the same age Terence is at right now was able to do that to a young Canelo. So just like I'm saying, Canelo could exploit things that Shawn and Madrimov did. Maybe Crawford can exploit things that Bivol, Lara, and Floyd Mayweather did on the outside, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, this is a different beast, Canelo at 68, than it was 11 years ago at 54 when he fought Floyd. And as great as Terence is, Floyd's gifts and reflexes and hand and foot speed were from another planet than not from another planet than Crawford, but he was different in those regards with those reflexes and hand speed and foot speed. He's not the puncher Terence was at 47 and 54. But yeah, I would, and my thing at 54, you still gotta maybe favor Crawford over the field, even though Fundora at 6'7" is tough for anybody. But you know,
6'6".
I think he's gonna meet more resistance at 54 than he did at 47. 47, he knocked everybody out. 54, it's going to be, I mean, it only stands to reason as he gets older and is climbing up in weight. It's going to be tougher at this. It's going to look more like this, perhaps.
Yeah, let's close this up.
I'm gonna ask you
Go ahead,
guys.
Antt. Yeah.
Does Crawford get this? Does he get the Canelo fight or undisputed at 154? Which one do you guys say he got a better chance to get?
I think he's going to have to settle for some type of plan B. Because I think if Canelo, well, his promoter, you know, Turki Al-Sheikh talking about we're going to eat Canelo on September 14th. And if Canelo's smart, he'll take this deal. Canelo's got enough money to go, I'm good. And I don't, you know, how much money you're putting in front of me. And I don't love the way you're offering it. But beyond that, if Canelo loses to Crawford, he loses to a smaller, older guy. If he loses to Benavidez, he loses to a younger, bigger guy. It's like, oh, thank you for handing the torch over to the young guy. You lose to Crawford. It's like, you know, as great as Crawford is, you lost to a former lightweight who's still, even though you have more fights than him, he's a couple years older. So I don't know. But maybe Canelo Crawford makes more money, you know, because they're two more mainstream names. I don't know. That business side, I'm not sure, but, you know, we'll see.
Promoter Shawn Zittel, do you make the fight?
You mean if which promoter?
If you
got two different promoters trying to make fights with Canelo. If I'm Al Heyman, I'm trying to make Benavidez. If I'm Turki Al-Sheikh, I'm trying to make Canelo Crawford.
If you Shawn Zittel with $100 million,
and I could I think I'd go Canelo Benavidez on one of those two Mexican dates because I know the Mexican fans are. I could put that at Allegiant, and they could sell out a football stadium. Not saying Canelo and Crawford wouldn't either. But I don't know though. But at the same time, Crawford and Canelo are two different fan bases. So maybe, you know, like you already got all of the Latino fans, Mexican fans. You already got Canelo. Now bring in the American fans with Crawford. But I don't know. Canelo Benavidez seems like a all Mexican Super Bowl that'll just every Mexican and Mexican American is gonna watch that fight. So
yeah, I like it. I just want to hear what you had to say about it.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna make this announcement right now, but I'm gonna work on changing this if you guys want to try to do something on Wednesday. But I have this. I'm already set to do these guys on Tuesday, but I think we need to do this Wednesday, maybe in the studio. You guys got some studio time on Wednesday?
Yeah, you mean postponing Tuesday with Ryo and Bud to Wednesday? I actually get to make this live now?
Yeah, I can move something around in the afternoon. I can move stuff.
Antt gonna be mad at me because he got his calendar. Did you get your calendar out, Antt?
Yeah, how you know I'm looking at it? That's exactly what I'm doing right now. I think we can make something happen on Wednesday.
What time? To my ears, Sean.
Huh?
Music to my ears. I'm there.
Yeah.
All right. Good deal. 2 in the afternoon.
Yes.
Yeah, I come back. Yeah. We can do that.
All right. I gotta get on the phone. I gotta get on the horn with Hafey.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Can I come on Zoom or I gotta be in the studio? I gotta be in the studio, huh? The Raiders having their last little mini camp.
He could come on Zoom. He could come on Zoom.
Let me know, Sean. I got you.
No, you can't come on Zoom. Can't come on Zoom.
Damn.
Okay.
Can't come on Zoom.
When you coming back?
I'm gonna come holler at Sean.
No. I'm saying, hey, I wouldn't help you get back. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Okay, don't tell the IRS.
All right, listen, we coming back to y'all with something exclusive. In the next couple of days, we have confirmed Ryo, Piccoli, and Crawford. We got all these guys confirmed. Y'all know me. I want to celebrate their wins. I want to celebrate their what they accomplished, and you know, and the way we do it, you know, we get a little bit more from them from where other channels can get from them, and we want you guys to hear it right here live on the PorterWay Podcast. So I'll be right back with y'all. Tune into the Twitter, the Instagram, all that kind of stuff, and we'll let you guys know exactly when and what time and where and all that kind of stuff. Until then, this is the PorterWay. No motivational message tonight. It's all good though. Stay blessed. Like Antt just said, stay blessed. Let me say it. Stay blessed.
Stay blessed.